Lawyers, have you ever defended someone who was actually framed? Yes, by a 12-year-old. I defended a man who was accused of child molestation by a 12-year-old girl. I will call her Becky for no particular reason. Becky was the daughter of the man's girlfriend. She did not like him and made up a story about him. I was fortunate in that my investigator found several of Becky's schoolmates who agreed to testify that Becky had told them she didn't like her mom's boyfriend and had asked for suggestions. One of the other girls admitted that the molestation story was originally hers. Becky liked it and made it her own, seeking their input and changing the story to make it more convincing. I suggested that the district attorney should have them interviewed. Fortunately, he did, and once the truth was brought out, the charges were dismissed. What did a teacher do that made you automatically gain respect for them? When I was in the first grade, my mother gave me one of many really awful haircuts. The first day back at school afterward, the kids picked on me horribly so much that I ran out and hid. The principal found me, and we went back to the classroom, and he asked me to wait outside for a minute while he talked to the class. He then walked me to his office and bought me a Coke. The next day, first thing in the morning, we had an assembly with the entire school, and he walked up on stage with his head shaved, completely bald, and talked about bullying and the like. Some 20 years down the road, he had retired, and I ran into him at the local college, shook his hand and said, "You probably don't remember me, but yes, I do." He interrupted and said my name in the event. The man is a hero in my eyes.
Gamers of Reddit, what are the strangest things you've heard over an open mic? I have legitimately heard someone on my team break up with a girl during a game of Call of Duty on voice chat. He was using open mic, and she was like, "Get off that stupid game and take me out to dinner," in this horribly entitled voice. After around 10 minutes of him being calm and saying things like, "It's okay, baby, just let me finish this game. I will get punished if I leave," and her just not understanding, she issued an ultimatum. "If you don't turn that game off right now and take me to dinner, I am leaving." He just typed in chat, "Pause please, need to break up with my GF," and everyone laughed and paused. The dude just went ballistic. "This is my apartment. You stay here on my dime. I buy you all your food. I give you money to go shopping. You don't get to issue ultimatums to me when you don't have anything without me. Get out of my apartment. This relationship is over." Then it was lots of her crying and yelling and bringing up all the things he did wrong in the past as if that was going to help. Eventually, he just said, "Sorry, the relationship is over. I don't care. Bring a truck and one of those douchebag bar guys you love to fuck so much to get your stuff tomorrow. See if any of them are willing to clothe, feed, house, and you." Everyone on voice chat just went, "Oh," and we were typing everything that was happening to the enemy team. He eventually got her out of the apartment, and boy, did it sound like the guy had a world of pressure off his shoulders. After the game, I friended him. We still talk on Steam sometimes. He really ended the relationship and ended up just putting all her—
A young boy enters a barber shop, and the barber whispers to his customer, "This is the dumbest kid in the world. Watch while I prove it to you." The barber puts a dollar bill in one hand and 2 quarters in the other, then calls the boy over and asks, "Which do you want, son?" The boy takes the quarters and leaves. "What did I tell you?" said the barber. "That kid never learns." Later, when the customer leaves, he sees the same young boy coming out of the ice cream parlor. "Hey son, may I ask you a question? Why did you take the quarters instead of the dollar bill?" The boy licked his cone and replied, "Because the day I take the dollar, the game is over." Attractive teachers. Did you know which students had a crush on you? Young male middle school teacher here. I know quite a few of them who have a crush on me. There's a new fad where they tell each other secrets and say who exposed, since when did snitching become popular anyway? I always get told who has a crush on me, and quite often, some of the girls will drop by to leave their athletic bags or instruments in the classroom, and they bring their friends in with them when they leave. I always hear comments like, "I wish I had him as my teacher." I once had a girl come in at lunch. She told me, "Sir, I like you," knowing full well what she meant. I tried to play it off and said, as nonchalant as I could, "I like you too. You're a great student." She was like, "No, I mean I really like you." I couldn't believe the tenacity. Another student asked me to take a picture with her towards the end of the school year. I obliged, and on the last day, she printed it out and gave it to me with her Instagram on the back and a message about how cute I was. Another girl found my Facebook and saved my profile picture as the background to her phone. I deleted my Facebook promptly afterward. If only I could get that kind of attention from girls my own age. What is the cutest mistake you've ever seen someone make? All of my children absolutely adore their grandpa. He has a warm smile, can soothe even the crankiest baby, and knows all the little tips and tricks to keep little people entertained. By the time each of my children has turned 2 years old, grandpa is their favorite person. However, they do go a few weeks between visits because they live 6 hours away. Needless to say, when the kiddos are young, they don't always exactly recall what grandpa looks like. When my daughter was about 2 years old, we were out grocery shopping, just the two of us. Suddenly, her excited little squeal startled every other shopper within earshot. "Grandpapa, Grandpa," she said with so much conviction that I actually believed it was him. However, I realized her little finger was pointing toward a little elderly man much older than my father. He had all the makings of a good grandpa. Gray hair, warm smile. It was an honest mistake. I almost corrected her when the old man said, "Hello there, little lady." She chatted on and on about the time he took her to the park and what she had for lunch. He intently listened until she got back to playing with her little doll. "Thank you, I'm out," to him. When you get to be my age, if someone calls you grandpa, you just go on right ahead and let them. What highly illegal thing took place at your high school? Two students who were not much into studies planned and carried out a coordinated attack on one of the math teachers. They stood by the top of the stairs between periods waiting for the math teacher to pass, and when he passed by them to go down the steps, one of them pushed him from behind while the other put his leg out to trap him. We all heard the scream and came out of our classes to see what happened. The teacher fell down the steps and broke his neck and back and was paralyzed from the neck down. We ran towards the teacher to pick him up and help him while the two kids were watching us from top of the stairs. The kids were called to the principal's office, and when asked why did they do that, the kids reasoning because one of them was dropped from the basketball team because he was failing that teacher's math class and he wanted to revenge. Both of them were 15 years old, so they didn't get jail time. They both got expelled and were sent to juvenile detention. The teacher sued the school district and got a settlement in the lower 7-digit range. They literally ruined his life, but weren't punished more severely. We all felt bad for the teacher. A blonde and a lawyer are on a plane, and they're sitting next to each other. The lawyer gets bored and decides to play a game. He asks the blonde to join. The lawyer says, "We'll each ask each other a trivia question. If I ask you a question and you get it wrong, you give me $5. But if you ask a question and I get it wrong, I'll give you $100. The blonde is interested, so she decides to play. The lawyer asks his question first. What's the distance between the Earth and the Moon? Well, the blonde doesn't know, so she hands the lawyer $5. Now it's the blonde's turn. She asks the lawyer what goes up a hill with 3 legs and comes down with 4. The lawyer is stumped. What could possibly go up a hill with 3 legs and come down with 4? He begins to sweat. He starts asking other passengers. He pays for the in-flight internet to email his lawyer friends. Nobody knows. Nobody can help him. Reluctantly, he writes a $100 check to the blonde. She smirks, takes his check, pockets it, and turns over again, wishing to get back to her nap. The lawyer shakes her. "Hey, wait," he said. "What goes up a hill with 3 legs and comes down with 4? The blonde hands him $5. A guy asked a girl in a university library, "Do you mind if I sit beside you?" The girl replied with a loud voice, "No, I don't want to spend the night with you." All the students in the library started staring at the guy. He was truly embarrassed. After a couple of minutes, the girl walked quietly to the guy's table and said, "I study psychology, and I know what a man is thinking. I guess you felt embarrassed, right?" The guy then responded with a loud voice, "$500 for one night? That is way too much." All the people in the library looked at the girl in shock. The guy stood and whispered in her ear, "I study law, and I know how to screw people." What family secret was finally spilled in your family? After my mom passed away, I found out the real story behind my parents' marriage. She came to my father's country to visit some of her relatives, met my father, and after just 1 week, she asked him to marry her so she could stay in the country. My father accepted because he had no one else, and his parents were pressing him to get married already. But the highlight of the story is that over some time, the two of them fell in love with each other. Their love only grew over the time, and they were really happy together. My mother spent her last days very ill, and she would accept only my father by her bedside. He swears to this day that she was an angel sent from God to take care of him. I am shocked that they got married just like that out of the blue and ended up loving each other so deeply. I can only hope to have as good and loving marriage as they had.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.